The United Nations released its third ever climate change report today. In it, a grim assessment of where the environment is headed.
The jury has reached a verdict, and it is damning. This report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is a litany of broken climate promises. It is a file of shame, cataloguing the empty pledges that put us firmly on track towards an unlivable world. We are on a fast track to climate disaster.
It's called Bay du Nord. It's in Newfoundland and Labrador, and it would be Canada's first deep-water drilling site. The proposed project would use a floating production vessel to produce up to 200,000 barrels of oil a day at far lower emission rates, they say, than anywhere else in Canada. And it could be up and running in about 3 years. But it's run into two big obstacles. The first, the federal government recently delayed the final decision on Bay du Nord indefinitely. And then there's the climate issue, of course. Canada just unveiled its ambitious plan to reduce emissions, and today the UN International Panel on Climate Change released a key report that calls for rapid, deep, and immediate cuts in carbon dioxide emissions, and also says that oil, coal, and gas extraction might have to be abandoned later this century, they say, to meet the Paris targets of keeping global warming under 2 degrees. So will Canada give the green light to Bay du Nord or kill it and leave billions of dollars stranded in the ground? Let's find out.
Listen, the Bay du Nord project is so important, not just for the people of Newfoundland or for the people of Canada, but indeed our NATO partners and environmentally the entire world. I think if we accept the proposition and premise, and I think we all do, that we're in a time of transition, I think there's an imperative that we turn our gaze towards the lowest carbon emitting petroleum product that we can possibly use. And frankly, our Newfoundland and Labrador offshore is that product.
The oil and gas industry, as you've just argued, plays a part in this transition. Today, though, the United Nations Climate Panel released a critical new report. The UN Secretary General went so far as to say that investing in any new fossil fuel infrastructure is moral and economic madness. I'm using his words. And he says investments will soon be stranded. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, well, I think, again, we're in this time of transition. We accept that we're moving towards 2050. Well, if we're transitioning, we need to make sure that we're transitioning to lower carbon emitting products. And so if we can develop, and we have it, the capacity to develop one of the lowest carbon emitting oil platforms in the entire world, then shouldn't we be using that product during this time of transition?
Again, the climate report says the only way to stop global warming is to limit, as you know, 1.5 or 2 degrees above where we are now, dramatically reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And they say, the report says that this could effectively strand $4 trillion worth of coal, oil, but also natural gas infrastructure by the middle of the century. It just raises the question, is it worth it to invest $1 billion into something that the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change says might be worthless in 25 years?
Well, I think the market should make that decision. I mean, you know, Newfoundland and Labrador isn't investing money in this right now. The market should dictate that in 20 to 30 years. I think, you know, I wish we had a crystal ball to know exactly what's going to happen on, you know, January 1st, 2050, but we don't. What we do know is that there is a product right now that should be displacing higher carbon emitting production during this time of transition. And I think that should be the imperative that we all seek to yeah, go ahead.
So I just ask, because I know the market's going to say it, but environmentalists will say that's not what the planet's saying. The planet's saying no more fossil fuels. And you don't know how long till we get the green light on this or not?
I have no idea. You know, all I can tell you is that, you know, we've made our case from an environmental perspective, from an economic one, and from a geopolitical one.
After studying this project for 4 years, we come to the conclusion that the project doesn't have significant impacts.